this module of the Being a Resource Parent series, Making the Decision to Foster, we will cover what it means to be a resource parent and how being a resource parent impacts your entire family. We will address the added stress that comes with fostering, the grief and loss felt by the caregiving family as children enter and leave your home, and the importance of self-care, utilizing supports, assistance, and resources to empower you with information needed to be a successful resource family. If you have a pre-existing relationship with the child in your care or are related, your family may be affected in ways different from resource parents who did not know the child prior to them being placed in the home. You may feel a sense of grief and loss in a different way from other resource parents, and you might have different support systems. Let's get started. Children in foster care may live with relatives, close friends, or a non-relative family. Click on each colored button to learn more about the different types of resource families.
If you want to care for one or more children who are not related to you, you will apply to be a general resource family. Families from all kinds of backgrounds are welcome, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, or sexual orientation. Families can apply and be certified to provide foster care for a specific child. This could be a child they know from their neighborhood, school, church, etc. These families don't generally plan to have other children experiencing foster care placed in their home. The Oregon Department of Human Services strongly prefers to place children in foster care with relatives or kin when safe and appropriate.
In Oregon, we no longer use the term foster parent as it implies that the biological parents and family are being replaced. Families who provide foster care are called resource families, resource parents, or relative resource families. The term resource parent puts the caregiver alongside the child and family and aligns with the Oregon Department of Human Services Child Welfare Vision of Transformation. See the resource area of this module for more information about the ODHS Child Welfare Vision for Transformation. Resource families are affirming, ensure cultural and community connections for children, youth, and young adults, and are partners in achieving best outcomes for families while providing for the safety, health, and well-being of those they're committed to caring for in their home. Resource families are a part of a team of people advocating and supporting the child and their family. Foster care is the temporary living arrangement for children and youth who need a safe place to live when their parent or caretaker cannot safely take care of them. The primary goal of foster care is family reunification. A resource family knows that reunification and family preservation is always the first goal and supports that. And resource families are ready to support permanency for the child if reunification is not possible. Let's hear from some resource parents. Why did you become a resource parent?
I kind of stumbled upon it by accident, actually. I had a friend at work who was doing foster care, and he really encouraged me, and I found that most people start that way, that someone encouraged them.
I do foster care because I think that the richness in human life can be measured in our connections to other people.
There's a lot of reasons, and the most important one, I've been asked that question many times, and if I can make a difference, if that one day in our home can show a child that there's a different way to do things that brings them a little bit more peace or happiness, then it was worth it.
Let's hear from some relative resource parents about the impacts of fostering as a relative caregiver.
The adjustment for me as a caregiver were gigantic. It was really a choice when social workers said, this tiny baby needs a place to live for a short time or for a super long time. We're really not sure. As time went on, it was apparent to me that if I was going to make this decision and this commitment, I was going to need to change my life dramatically. And so there was, I think, a lot more adjustment for me than for anybody else, except obviously parents who no longer had that child with them every day. So, I changed my job. I changed so much of what I do. And that was, I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to make those kinds of changes, to be able to support her in my life. It's an ongoing process.
How has it overall been an impact on our life? Well, you start thinking of financials. You start thinking of, when do I retire? What do I have for affordability for things?
As a relative caregiver, relationships in my family have changed quite a bit. I think there's a lot of, you really need, I think it's what makes it easier for me is knowing what my priority is. When a baby or a child is placed with you and you are responsible for that child's safety, that's all I need to know. I base all of my decisions relative to that. My child who had a child is now an adult, and I'm no less committed to my child who has made me a grandparent, but my decisions made for that child, I'm now the sole caregiver for this baby, and I need to base all decisions I'm making in relation to that. So that makes those decisions a lot easier when I know who I'm making those decisions for. I have heard a lot of relatives talk about how challenging that can be during the holidays, especially if you are the person who hosts those and you want all of the people you love under one roof. I don't know how to make that easier. That can really be a challenge. But what I would say is you really need to focus on you, on the commitment that you made to that child, and everybody else in the family is going to make their own decisions. I rely and can lean on other relative caregivers who are going through the same thing. It's a unique situation, and I think only relative caregivers understand how joyous and how painful that can be. So my advice would be to rely on the support of other relative caregivers who are very uniquely equipped to support and help you.
A decision to foster is often not a decision you will make on your own. It is likely something you will talk through with others. Who will you discuss this decision with? Check all the boxes that apply. The decision will have an effect on your entire family. As a resource parent, you have a responsibility to meet the needs of the child experiencing foster care in your home. As a member of your family, you also have a responsibility to meet the needs of your spouse, partner, children, and yourself. As a family, talk about the feelings you may have about fostering. Include what you each might look forward to, as well as any concerns anyone might have. Talking about these things, especially with the children in your home, this will help prepare everyone for fostering. Your children may be worried that they won't get as much of your attention or about what happens to the foster children when they leave your home. Using books to introduce your children to foster care may be a great way to begin this discussion. You have likely prepared for quite some time for children to come into your home, but no matter how much preparation you do, it will still take some time and effort to adjust to having a child in your home. This will be true not just for the first child that you foster, but for each and every child that you welcome into your home. As you gain experience in fostering, you will learn how to help your family adjust to children coming into your home, and you will also learn how to help your family to adjust to children leaving your home. And for those who are relatives to the child you are caring for, you likely didn't get to have this discussion ahead of time. It is not too late to acknowledge all the feelings you may have and how it has changed your family dynamics. Let's listen as some resource parents share their experience.
We talked about becoming foster parents for quite a while. My husband and I, we only had one little one at the time, so it really was a decision for us. And we just felt that it was really important to be able to help somebody besides ourselves. Later on, we started fostering again when our children were older, and then we had a family discussion about it. Talked to the children and, just told them that we wanted to hear their input, but ultimately it would be Dad and I's decision whether or not we did it. But we wanted to hear how they felt and how it would affect their lives.
I think pretty typical discussions. We were worried about whether we had the room to do it, like physically had the room. We were worried about the space in our life. It already seemed like we had a busy life and we were full and tired at the end of every day, and we didn't have kids to take care of. Just how are we going to make it all work if we have another person in our house? And then how are we going to make it all work if we have 2 more people in the house? And then how are we going to make it all work if we have 3 more people in the house?
Let's listen as some relative caregivers share their experiences.
I did not prepare for this placement. I think for many of us, it's a sad surprise that our grandchild, our niece, our nephew, our brother or sister needs ongoing, daily, all-encompassing love and support because their parents can't care for them anymore. So I absolutely did not prepare for that. And once I was asked to make that decision, though, it was pretty easy. I threw my heart and all of my resources 100% into that. And number one, made sure anybody else living in my home was on board with our mission. And at this point, we all were behind that. And the rest of that was pretty easy. Once I had those discussions with everybody under my roof and we were ready to go, then we were ready to go, and I think the conversations that have to happen are, no matter how hard this gets, we are in this. I want to know how everybody feels about it, but if we make the decision to make this commitment, then we're sticking with it.
You don't get much information ahead of time. You don't even know what's going to happen. It's not like going into foster care because I want to help these children, whoever they may be, or I'm hoping to adopt these children, whoever they may be. Most pre-placements for a relative caregiver occur because there is an existing problem. And you don't know that you're going to have placement until somebody's standing at your door. We had to acquire a crib, and we had to acquire a lot of things. And literally, the groups that are out there for fostering can help so well that I think relative caregivers need to know that information. It's kind of hard because, like I said, ours was like, okay, you've got an hour's notice and we're bringing you a child, or you have to come pick up a child, but you don't expect that. But believe it or not, you sit down and you go an afterthought and you realize that all existed.
You may have already considered the grief and loss that children and birth parents experience, but now think about the grief and loss that you and your family might experience when children leave your home. While you might support the decision to move the child, or maybe you requested the change, you may still feel a sense of loss when they leave. Sometimes this loss is a feeling of sadness that you miss the child and care for them, and sometimes the sadness is because you felt you couldn't support their needs. Whatever the reason for the sense of loss, it is important to find ways to help your family to work through it. This sense of grief and loss may be shared by your children as well, and it is important to process these feelings as a family. Your certifier can help you to find support during this time of grief. You'll learn later in this module about ways to find assistance through respite and support groups. For relative providers, your sense of grief and loss may feel very different from that of resource parents who are not related to the children in their homes. You may also be grieving for the child and the birth parents because the child had to go into foster care. You might feel a sense of loss or embarrassment for your family to be involved with the child welfare system, and you will also probably feel a sense of loss like any other resource parent when the child leaves your home. You'll probably have similar fears about what will happen to the child and if the move was a positive one. Talk with your certifier about getting connected to caregiver support groups that address the grief and loss of relative caregivers. Grief and loss is a normal result of foster care. Others share your experience. Most importantly, know the child you have cared for has benefited from the stability you have provided. As you foster, remember that in order for you to fully take care of the children in your home, you must also take care of yourself. In order to take care of yourself, think about how you can be supported by those around you. You and your family might feel supported by family members, neighbors, friends, co-workers, members of your spiritual community, or by other resource parents. These people who can and will support you and your family are your support network, and they will be really important people to lean on as you foster. Imagine that you've had a really stressful day and you're not feeling well. Who can you call to vent to or to talk to? Who can you call that you know will listen and will offer their support? Who are the people in your life that you know that you can count on, no matter what? Write down who is included in your support network. Then write down when you could reach out to those people when you need them. A person doesn't really need to be available to you 24 hours a day to be part of your support network. You might have a friend who doesn't live nearby, but you can call her anytime for support. She would be a great help to you to talk things through, but it might not be realistic to think that she could help you with grocery shopping or running errands. Think about and write down the ways that each person in your support network can help you and your family as you foster, and then talk about these with your certifier. Being a resource parent can be fun and rewarding, but it can also be exhausting. In order to effectively care for the children in your home, you'll need to think about how you and your family refuel. How do you take time for yourself and get energized? Think about stressful times that you have gone through and that your family has experienced. How did you recover? Some examples of refueling could be taking a family vacation after stressful holidays to spend time together and have fun, taking a long bath or spending time alone reading, working out or exercising after a stressful day, taking your kids out for ice cream, going fishing. How do you refuel? How can you help your family to refuel? Refueling can include taking 10 minutes to yourself every day, or it could be taking that family vacation. You can find ways to refuel every day, but sometimes you'll need more than that. Think about different ways that you and your family can feel refreshed, and write down your ideas to share with your certifier. Throughout this training, you've probably heard 100 times to turn to your certifier when you need help. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. By asking for help, you will be caring for the foster children in your home and for your family the best way that you can. If you ignore warning signs of stress or frustration, you won't be able to care for your foster children, your family, or yourself effectively. It's important to ask for help when you need it. Don't wait. When you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, talk with your certifier about how you can handle the stress in the most productive way. Your certifier can connect you with these statewide resources and can also let you know of area-specific resources based on where you live in Oregon. There is also a resource page with all of the links to these statewide resources under Resources in this module. Click on each sticky note to hear a short summary of each organization.
The Oregon Foster Parent Association, OFPA, is a statewide association operating within the foster, relative, and adoptive community in Oregon. Founded in 1996, the organization's mission is to improve the quality of the foster care system in Oregon and make Oregon foster homes the best they can be, allowing each Oregon foster placement to become a home of safety and healing for Oregon's most vulnerable children. Assisting families on their lifelong journey. Since their founding in 1999, ORPARK's open dialogue with Oregon ODHS, community partners, parents, and youth themselves has deepened their responsiveness to the courageous voices of state, resource, adoptive, guardianship, and kinship families and their brave children. Through information and referral, training and education, therapeutic listening, systems navigation, advocacy, and personalized parenting consultation, they explore a family's need and desire for short or long-term confidential assistance. Keep groups offer peer support and community for resource, kinship, and adoptive parents of youth ages 2 and up. Join other parents in discussing trauma-informed strategies tailored to the unique needs of each home and child in a supportive and welcoming environment. Oregon Kinship Navigator is a statewide resource and referral service for grandparents raising grandchildren and other relative caregivers. Every child mobilizes community to uplift children and families impacted by foster care in Oregon through storytelling, empowering volunteers, raising up new resource families, and supporting families.
Consider using respite as a form of self-care. Respite care is a service where a temporary caregiver takes over the responsibilities of the primary caregiver, giving them a break. It can be arranged in advance or in times of crisis and is important for families with children, as it allows caregivers to rest and avoid feeling overwhelmed. Learn more by talking with your certifier and/or looking up respite care in the Oregon Administrative Rules for Resource Home Certification. There you can find out more about using respite as a certified resource parent. Maybe you're not quite ready to become a resource parent yet, but you might consider doing respite care for someone who is certified. Click the orange space for more information. Let's hear from some resource parents. What was helpful when things were difficult?
When we were struggling and having a hard time, it was really important to connect with other people doing what we did. Oftentimes, your family and your friends don't understand what you're going through when you're fostering. So it's really important to connect with people that have the same mindset that you do and can give you good ideas. Oftentimes they have the best ideas because they've been through it already.
For me, I'm fairly religious, and I take some time and I pray. I talk to my friends. I think most of the same things that other people do when they're stressed out.
I think it's incredibly helpful having a team supporting the kids, from the social workers being involved, being able to call a social worker and just vent for no reason other than to vent. I find time alone is helpful, so getting the kids a babysitter and getting away from the house for a little while can really, really be helpful.
Knowledge is power. Your support network will be incredibly valuable to you as a resource parent. In addition to having people to turn to, training can be a great way to increase your skills, empathy, and purpose for the work of being a resource parent. RAF Resource and Adoptive Family Training is the place to start your journey if you are not currently certified. Ongoing training is a great way to increase your knowledge and capacity to care for children who have experienced separation, loss, and trauma. You can find information about RAF and ongoing training by scanning the QR code. Have you heard of Robin Goebel or Jessica Sinarski? They are both trauma-informed professionals specializing in parenting children struggling with big behaviors. Consider checking out their websites and the array of free resources they offer resource and adoptive families. They can both be incredibly energizing to a weary soul. Oregon Post Adoption Resource Center is the lending library for resource and adoptive families in Oregon. You can request a book from the ORPARK Lending Library. Maybe you prefer to listen to a book instead? They have Audible books as well. Scan the QR code to go to the ORPARK website. More information is included on the resource page in this module. Let's listen to some advice and final thoughts.
The work and job and effort that foster parents do and put forth is extremely difficult and wonderful all at the same time. And for every challenge that there is, there's a bright moment that makes it all worthwhile. So when it seems like it's getting tough, hang in there, because there's a bright moment around the corner.
Stick in there with them. Hang in there with them, because these kids are very confused. They've seen a lot, heard a lot. Some have been moved around a lot, and they just want someone to understand them, and some kids make it harder than others to do it. And if foster parents can be patient, show them that they care and that they love them, no matter what they have to do for discipline, that is the key for these kids to make it.
Foster parenting is amazing work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done and also the most rewarding. It's hard to realize how much another person counting on you can matter in your life.
Congratulations for completing the module, Making the Decision, of the Being a Resource Parent series.